your Cowboys.
They win on Thursday
in their traditional Thanksgiving game day. They're going to be in first place. How about the Cowboys? How about those Vikings? How about a crazy weekend across your sports landscape? How about those Lobos, 28-0 at Air Force? We're going to talk to Danny Gonzalez coming up at 8 o'clock this morning because it's a quick turnaround. They will play on Thanksgiving, trying to get their first win of the season at Utah State. We got a whole NFL agenda to get through, and it was interesting. The bright young star, the Cincinnati Bengals, broken and out for the season. Carolina didn't matter if their two stars were out. They rolled Matt Patricia and the Lions. It's the opening drive. Happy Monday. Welcome to your work week, a short work week for many. It's Thanksgiving week. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck, and Mike on the radio side. It looks like Jay Pohl and Josh, who was sweating it out yesterday on the ProView Network side. JJ Buck, I thought the Chargers were going to win. And even in that last second, I thought maybe with 1 second to go, this is the perfect way. The most perfect Charger thing ever. 1 second to go. The Chargers can't even take the safety right and run out the clock. And so they've got to give it back. And no. But it was close. And if it wasn't for that little lazy pick six by your boy Joe Flacco, we might have had a game here.
Yes, it was very close. It was, oh my gosh, it's happening moment in the fourth quarter. And you saw immediately after the Chargers took the safety, they went to a shot of Anthony Lynn, and he's like, why didn't he start zigzagging? Like zig and zag. Like take some more time off the clock, and so they just ran into the back of the end zone, and the punter got pushed out with the second left. It was a total Charger ending to that game in which it shouldn't have been in doubt, but it absolutely was, because that is everything about the Los Angeles Chargers. Is you have an epic game from Justin Herbert, just a ridiculous passing day, everyone getting involved, and they still almost lose to the Chargers.
Yeah, it's but they didn't. And so Josh's pinky toe,
his lower back is safe.
Yeah, it's such a bummer too. I mean, of everything I was looking forward to this weekend, Lobos, Aztecs, Rams tonight, good games yesterday. I was looking forward to that Chargers-Jets game with, and I really was certain, and I thought the Jets were going to win, but they didn't. And they are still winless on the season. Biggest story around here, and there's going to be a bunch. The Broncos, I want to get there because that game was mind-boggling to me in so many respects. The Cowboys came out and looked good yesterday. 31-28 offensively, and I'm going to give it to their defense when it mattered. They beat a Vikings team who I thought had figured it out, that had Dalvin Cook cooking, that had gotten things turning on offense, and the Cowboys got Andy Dalton back. And I don't know what that means. You're like, okay, they got Andy Dalton back. And the whole mantra was, well, at least they've got Andy Dalton. And if Dak goes down, well, they've got a capable back. Oh, they got the best backup in the league. And he looked bad in his one game, got broken in the next game, and he's been out for a few. And so you've gone through Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert, and you're done. And by every right, you should be done. But you're not done. And if you win against a Washington football team who also is 3-7, you're going to be in first place come Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. It's crazy.
That is the Andy Dalton that everyone expected to see quarterbacking the Dallas Cowboys. There's still enough talent to compete offensively on that team. And it was rough in the initial go, took a cheap shot, which sent him out, then landed on the COVID list, came back, and provided the pulse that offense needs, to be competitive. But the biggest thing to me is the defense. You go back to the Pittsburgh game, and they took a step. They went. They found a way to be competitive. And the same exact thing yesterday. This was a game everyone thought, Dalvin Cook is going for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And guess what? Minnesota had some explosive plays. Adam Thielen matched CeeDee Lamb, actually one-armed him. Justin Jefferson had a big touchdown. but they didn't break. And that was a huge step for the Dallas Cowboys defense and something that they needed to see. And that was Andy Dalton being the guy that we all expected him to be. And just good enough to keep that offense pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, the other thing was the return of Zeke Elliott. And Ezekiel Elliott ran like Ezekiel Elliott yesterday. He ran with some conviction, 103 yards. He caught a touchdown pass. And look, I mean, it's the oldest, most worn out, but very, very true cliche. In football, you got to be able to run the football, right? And they've not been able to run the football. Zeke ran the football yesterday. And when he runs the football, that football team is good. Then we can start talking about the weapons that they've got. And I thought you're absolutely right on the defense. And it started back against Pittsburgh, and they almost won that game. And then they get the week off, and they get Andy Dalton healthy. And I think his first game out, there was something wasn't right. Then he gets broken, and then you're going through this litany. Bottom line is, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the season. Tell me that they're not potentially the best team in that division.
Oh, I absolutely think they can be in that conversation. At the very bottom of the list is Philadelphia, the most disappointing team over this time because we all believed in the Carson Wentz hype. And it's
Boy,
a guy
is that bad.
It's always everyone else's fault. Like, I think Carson Wentz can be fine, but no one ever wants to talk about it. When they'll talk about the offensive line or the weapons have been hurt. It's like you should be able to be more competitive with that offense. Yeah, it's an ugly, nasty day in Cleveland. That's the way it's been the last few games there. Miles Sanders was pretty good early. He seemed to disappear late. And then in a close game, you have an opportunity. You have some tough turnovers from Carson Wentz. So I have them at the very bottom of the NFC East. Like, there's
worse than the Giants. So you think they're worse than the Giants?
Yes. I think they're worse than the Giants. I think they're worse than the Washington football team and worse than the Dallas Cowboys right now. I have zero belief in that football team when they should have been the team, even with their questions, to run away at this moment in time.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I think their time's gone. I think they've missed it. I think Carson Wentz makes some bad decisions, and your point is kind of dead on. It's always somebody else's fault. Well, who's making the decisions? Who's throwing these garbage throws? When you look at some of the passes he's throwing that are getting picked off, and some of the ones that aren't, quite frankly, I was all in on Carson Wentz too. I was all in. I thought this was going to be his year. I thought this was a division that was easy to snatch, and they're horrible. They're horrible. And Cleveland, by the way, keeps winning. We're going to get there, but this division, Washington wins 20-9. Alex Smith had another day. Alex Smith last week threw for 390 yards. Yesterday, he had another solid day. Again, they're not killing anybody. Nobody in this division is going to go out and just wow you. Okay, and I'm going to tell you this too: the Giants have a chance because the Giants are running the football. If Daniel Jones can take care of the football, I look at what they can do defensively. Like the three teams that I thought were all out of it, I think they're all the same team right now as far as having a shot. And I don't think Philly's going to win this thing. And I think Dallas is the best team. I think, even with Andy Dalton, because all of a sudden in the last 2 weeks they've shown me something defensively. I guess I don't totally buy into what Alex Smith is going to be able to do with that receiving core, although I think they may have the best defense of the three. And if Daniel Jones continues to show progress, like I'm sitting here wasting my whole segment. I'm not wasting it, but we're talking about 3-win teams because that's that entire division. And you're like, okay, any one of these 3-win teams is going to host a playoff game.
Yeah, you have a tie that is like giving the Eagles this weird edge for the moment, but they can't get out of their own way. You're right. Everything about these teams are so similar. With the Giants, it's just don't turn the football over, and you feel all right. They kind of have some decent skill position players at times. When Daniel Jones is able to push the football downfield, as you said, the Andy Dalton giving the offense a pulse, which we figured, and Zeke has to be better with Andy Dalton because you can't survive throwing the football like you could with Dak Prescott. You need a lot more Ezekiel Elliott. You need some more of that balance with Andy Dalton under center. And to your point, the Washington football team they're just competitive. They're solid on both sides of the football. I do think that you will see in games where they need to make some big plays. That's probably just the biggest issue with Alex Smith. It feels like even in that Lions game where he threw for a lot of yards, everything was underneath. That's the big thing. It's, can they get the explosives if they need to? But right now you're feeling like, heck yes, we can, because everyone has a chance.
Yeah, and I think Washington's got the best defense out of all this. And then there's the Giants, who didn't play this week, and I think Daniel Jones is getting better. I mean, you might be able to argue with me that they got the best quarterback. I think, right? So
I don't know if I can go there yet on Daniel.
Well, who's the best quarterback in the division now?
They're all just pointing at each other.
Who's the best quarterback?
Week to week.
It is. And yesterday, was it Alex Smith? Was it Andy Dalton? I mean, Daniel Jones didn't play yesterday.
I think it was Andy Dalton.
That's why they got him, man. That's why. Jerry's a genius. Jerry's a bleeping genius. All right, 8 o'clock this morning. Danny Gonzalez will be with us. Lobos lose 28-0 at Air Force on Friday night. 28-0. They miss 4 field goals, have the bottom, and we're going to get into this next. Their defense gives them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after getting just trucked in the first quarter. They settle down, figure it out, and then put them in a position, not to be competitive, they put them in a position to win the football game. So we'll talk about that coming up next. It is the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal and Purview Networks.
Titus and Tate break down all.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Dorian over. Did he get
Yeah,
in?
they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
Davis and
Andrew Shelley's going to get the opportunity now. Andrew Shelley, among the most effective place kickers in Lobo football history among qualifiers, lost the job in camp this year, gets his first attempt of the season. The placement is down. This is a 40-yarder from the right hash, and Shelley is wide left. No good. New Mexico can't buy a field goal, and the Lobos trail it 21-0.
The disappointed dulcet tones of Robert Portnoy over on Lobo Radio, on News Radio KKOB Friday night. 28-0 was the final. A step back, and no matter how you look at it, we'll talk to Danny Gonzalez coming up at the top of the hour. Absolutely a step back offensively. I'm going to argue with you a step forward defensively, and you're going to say, Jeff, they gave up 28 points. They got scalded. They did in the first quarter. And after the first quarter, they figured it out because JJ, I watched that first quarter, and I'm thinking this is going to be a 45-0 game. That Air Force is going to carve them all night long. Lobos figured it out. They still gave up 356 yards rushing, which is a big number. Now you got the numbers I think broken down. How much was in the first half, and the takeaways. And what Rocky Long and Danny Gonzalez talk about is we need to force turnovers. They did. They forced turnovers that were in positive territory, and the offense. I thought Trey Hall took a step back. I thought the offensive line took a step back. I thought Trey Hall was running for his life the whole game, and certainly in the second half. And I mean, 4 field goals, as Danny Gonzalez said after, it's just, it's ridiculous, is what he said. Kind of is. It kind of is. Nice sweatshirt, by the way.
Little CMU action going on. It's because the belief started to creep in. This was a game that, after watching the Lobos for the first 3 weeks, they've been competitive, one-score contest the last 2 weeks. Huge, a lot of questions with Air Force. It wasn't a game in which people were talking themselves into the Lobos blowing out Air Force. No. But you felt, hey, they're going to be in the situation again in the second half, in the fourth quarter, to win it. And you felt like it was time for them to take that step forward. And defensively, to your point, what they saw in that first half, the first 2 drives of Air Force, it was an 11-play, 86-yard touchdown drive, then 10-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. And you're sitting there going, what were these questions about the Falcons offense? Yeah. Like, what were these questions about maybe them not being as crisp as you expected? Because Brad Roberts, fullback, was phenomenal, just destroying the Lobos up the middle. And that's all Danny talked about, is stopping the fullback, and they couldn't do that. And then Zeke Daniels is your classic option guy, who's executing well, making the right decisions. And what they did, though, to get that one final stop before halftime and then somehow, some way create the 3 turnovers, absolutely, Jeff, I agree with you. This is one thing that it's a 28-0 game. And you're sitting there going, the defense was the best thing that happened for the Lobos in this contest because it gave them a chance, and the offense took a big step back. They did not win at the line of scrimmage. Trey Hall was not effective or efficient in the passing game, and still, if the Lobos, they're a team that has to run the football because they're not built to drop back and throw the football 40 times. It's a spread run offense. When they lose at the line of scrimmage, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, well, first of all, when you lose 28-0, nothing offensively is going to be the best part about your team. And I know they're hoping to get Tavaka back. I thought Trey was okay. He took 2 sacks. Boy, for sure felt like he took a lot more. I thought he missed on a bunch. I thought the offensive line struggled protecting him, and Danny talked about that quite a bit. But I go back. So, and I'm interested to talk to Danny about what changed defensively from those first 2 drives, certainly into the second half. Because I thought in the second half, New Mexico's defense was, I'm not going to tell you great, but I thought they were good. JJ, I thought not only did they not give up anything until I thought that last touchdown, I thought that was just one out of frustration where it was like, damn, we just missed 4 field goals and a guy just busted it, like whatever. But not only were they not giving up any yards, they were taking the ball away in positive territory, and that was what was so impressive to me. What was do you have the breakdown of yardage for Air Force by half? Because
in the first half, they had 246 total yards, 186 on the ground, and 60 passing.
280. What was it? 280. What?
246 total in the first half.
All right, and so they had 180 in the second half, or 180, ish, 176, whatever my math tells me. So a lot better numbers. I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I'm still encouraged. I like the fight in that team. They're starting to take on the personality of their coaching staff. This is a tough one for fans, and I talked to a number of people, and they were really fired up about Friday because they thought this was the get over the hump game. And maybe it's this Thursday. They've got the second longest losing streak in the country at 12 in a row. And Danny's got all the numbers, and I get it. Losing sucks, and I don't know what you expected to happen. I think you expected to win this weekend. This was the least competitive they've been in all their games, and JJ, it might be the fourth best team out of the 4 that they played, right? When you say Hawaii, Nevada, and
coming in. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now that you've seen who San Jose State is on the season, and I have to give a ton of credit to Air Force because this wasn't a game where I was thinking that the Lobos weren't going to, run away from the Falcons. They weren't going to have an easy day or easy night Friday because the numbers were fool's gold. This was the first time the rush defense was going to get tested. The first 3 teams they played beat them over the top, spread them out, and kept throwing the football. So you wanted to see, okay, how do they respond against an option offense? It took them 3 series to figure out how to play better in the first half. Unfortunately for them, those 3 series are all touchdown drives for the Falcons. So I want to definitely give Air Force their credit because they came out and executed, and they spent the last 2 weeks with questions. Their football team moving to a hotel, a bunch of changes as well. So this was a game where no excuses either way. Sure as heck Air Force is not going to have an excuse for anything, and that's the mindset that Danny Gonzalez has instilled or is trying to instill in his team. And I think that's why it was so frustrating because you felt like this team had taken the steps where it wasn't going to be a night where it's 28-0.
505-246-0610. I guess I should give phone numbers for you to get in today. 505-246-0610. Your emails come in today, and they're already coming in. Jeff at 610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. You can find JJ on the Twitter. Great follow, and you should be following him at _JJ Buck. Our Facebook page is the OD in the AM. So, JJ, I look forward. This is, I think this is the one where Lobo fans might be disappointed if they don't get this one, right? This is a Utah State team that's scuffling. Fired their coach, fired their quarterback. You're going up to their place. Another team that's coming off COVID bye. I don't even know what to call them. Weeks off because of COVID. They're COVID buys, right? I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that means you have more time to prepare or less time to practice. I don't even know anymore. I have no idea what's right, what's wrong, what's best, what's not best. But you're coming off a team or going to a place where you got a team that's gettable.
They're 5-point favorites. That was the line I saw yesterday, the early lines.
They being Utah State. Lobos are favorites? Wow.
The Lobos are favored in this contest. So that really tells you everything you need to know going into Utah State right now. You're looking at that team going, what are they? I have no idea what Utah State is. And this is definitely one where some people will feel foolish. Like, how dare I believe in the Lobos? And then they come out and do that to us once again. But this is a gettable game, even coming off losing 28-0 at Air Force. New Mexico's 5-point favorites for a reason. I think the big difference will be Tavaka. If they get Tavaka, I think the offense will be better. I like Trey Hall. I think it's really tough in this situation when you're a backup quarterback coming in, but you've had the weeks, you've had 2 full games, but you just feel like Tavaka has a little bit of an edge over him, obviously, which is why he's the starting quarterback.
Yes.
But still, it comes down to what this team, can they keep taking steps forward? Because now you have a Utah State coming in that they're not an option team. They don't know what they are right now. Who the heck is going to be their starting quarterback? Yep. Even with all the bad things that happened here Friday night, you have a chance.
Well, I don't think you got something to build off, especially defensively, coming off a Friday night. And you saw Air Force try to go over the top, and, well, once they did. But you've got something to build off offensively, and if you think you're getting your starting quarterback back, then you've got something to build off as well offensively. And I think they run the ball fairly well, the Lobos do. But to me, this team has to throw the ball a little bit to set up the run. And I know we go back to that cliche. I think they ran for 112 yards. They've got to be better than that, but I just think they've got to be able to throw the ball to open up the run. I think this is a converse of normal. You don't think so?
Yeah. Well, I think that would be a good thing to talk to Danny about too, because what we've seen with Derek Wareheim is that's the best way I can describe it, is a spread run offense. Yeah. Because the passing game is so, for the most part, it's the quick passes. It's the reads where it's a few vertical shots, but a lot of it is so quick that, it's one that, what do you need to work? Ultimately, nothing worked for them.
Well, they both need to work.
It was 3.7 yards per carry. And you couldn't get anything going. We had 2 3-and-outs in the first half, and I think that was also a reason why you didn't see Nate Jones until the third quarter, because you couldn't really get him involved when you're just on the field for 6 plays in 2 drives. You had another mistake right off the bat at the opening kickoff. That was foulable. You're starting at the 9-yard line, so there's still a lot of those little things that the Lobos have to work on.
Yeah, I got him at 3.3 yards per carry, which is even worse. And their leading rusher at 29 yards was Nate Jones and Bobby Cole. So, yeah, to me, if there's not a threat of them running or throwing the ball, I don't know that they're going to be effective running the football. And it almost works the other way in my mind. But yeah, we'll talk to Danny about that. Danny Gonzalez coming up. He'll be with us at 8 o'clock this morning as the Lobos get set to take on Utah State. Thanksgiving evening, 5 o'clock start. JJ will be working at 4 o'clock. What time's dinner at the Buck House if you got to come in and work at 4 o'clock?
It's a Thanksgiving lunch for us here at the Casa.
Yeah, as it should be. All right. We'll get more into Lobo football. We're going to bounce back into the NFL. Boy, your Broncos were impressive, kind of, I guess. I mean, they shut down a very hot football team yesterday. We got to get into what we saw last night. How about those Patriots? I mean, there's so many storylines. Taysom Hill, Joe Burrow. There's a litany, and we haven't even touched the money that's been thrown around in the National Basketball Association over the last couple of days. We'll do all that and take your phone calls at 505-246-0610. Stuck at home? You can take home with you. Get an RV loan from Kirtland Federal Credit Union and get the adventure started today. Their rates are amazing. The process is so easy. Travel trailers, pop-ups, fifth wheels, drivable RVs, and luxury motorhomes. Kirtland Federal Credit Union finances them all. Just click and apply online at kirtlandfcu.com. kirtlandfcu.org/RV. That's kirtlandfcu.org/RV. Apply online for fast pre-approval or tell the dealership I want to finance with Kirtland Federal Credit Union. You can drive away that day. Kirtland Federal Credit Union. They are more than military. They are for life. Kirtland Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender federally insured by the NCUA.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Evans has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass. Wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A little jump step in the...
And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Jalen Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man, touchdown, Wildcats. Not a defender inside.
3 at the Dolphin 20. They hand it off running right. Melvin Gordon squares, breaks a hole, 10, 5, touchdown Denver. 20-yard scamper by Melvin Gordon. Started right, put his foot in the ground about the right tackle, and went untouched into the north end zone. And the Broncos, with an 81-yard touchdown drive against the Miami Dolphins, now lead it 19-10 with 2:31 left in this third quarter.
84 yards and a pair of touchdowns from Melvin Gordon as the Broncos beat the Dolphins 2013, which may not sound impressive, but the Dolphins were one of the hottest teams in the NFL. And I'm not going to lie to you, I think one of the most surprising results of the weekend to me was the Broncos beating the Dolphins. That was courtesy of Broncos Radio. JJ, I'm not sold on your quarterback. I think your defense played really well. They were forced to make a change, or at least not forced. They made a change. Brian Flores pulled Tua, went for some Fitz magic, and there was no mile-high Fitz magic yesterday. But of all the results on the board, and there were some surprises, that one to me is the most shocking.
Absolutely. And Jeff, I finally figured it out. I had no idea what Drew Lock's ceiling was. What was his comp? What was his team going to look like? The expectations offensively were high, coming from the fact that they invested first-round pick in Noah Fant, in Jerry Jeudy. They had Cortland Sutton before his knee injury. But yesterday, it finally clicked for me. And Drew Lock and this Broncos team, I know the blueprint. He is Baker Mayfield. They are the Cleveland Browns.
Make you feel better?
Absolutely. Have you seen Cleveland? They're a playoff.
Oh, yeah, they're 7-3. Yeah, that's fair.
Absolutely. The blueprint for the Broncos is Drew Lock is not one of those quarterbacks. They're few and far between in the league that is going to be able to drop back and win you football games constantly with his arm. He has the talent when needed, but you saw yesterday, there's a reason you need Phillip Lindsay involved early, and then you can have Melvin Gordon to finish drives. That 1-2 punch the running game is what has to be the focal point of that offense, and then Drew Lock makes plays off of that. And you hope next year you get Von Miller back and there's enough left where he can be your star on the edge for one more season, get some pieces, and then you make a run as a wild card team. But it finally clicked. Like that's a blueprint. Like that's what I see out of Drew Lock. Is he's a guy that there's enough he can make some plays, but if you need him all game, it's just not going to work.
So is that the solution?
Not everyone has an elite quarterback. Like that's
but everybody's looking for one.
Yeah.
So first of all, everybody who wins at a consistent clip has at least a very good quarterback. If you don't want to tell me elite, I'll listen to that. But everyone who wins at a consistent level has a quarterback that's better than however you just described Drew Lock. Is that fair?
Yeah, but that's also the thing. Like we are conditioned, and I get it, about the quarterback position where it always has to be better.
Well,
but at some point in time, you got to win with the Jared Goff. You got to win with the Jimmy Garoppolo. Like everyone's not going to have an elite quarterback. So what is the formula? And it just clicked. Like this team is Cleveland last year, right? There was all this hype. Now it was different with you're paying money to an elbow backup and you have Jarvis Landry, and it didn't quite work. But I think you figured out what the ceiling is and what the blueprint for that team to be competitive is.
Yeah, I struggle with that because, first of all, is the goal to be competitive or is the goal to win? And I guess you got to be competitive before you win. And so I understand that. And so that almost puts you in purgatory, right? Because Jared Goff, and I think Jared Goff is a little bit better than Jim Garoppolo and Drew Lock. But Jared Goff got him to the Super Bowl and they lost once. Jim Garoppolo got him to the Super Bowl. They lost once. They haven't been back to the playoffs since they lost in the Super Bowl. I can't give you a team that has won consistently. And now there's been very few of them, right? The Packers, the Saints, the Patriots, the Steelers, that are winning on a consistent basis with a quarterback that is as mediocre as your definition just was of Drew Lock, of Cleveland Browns last year, who, by the way, didn't make the playoffs. The Cleveland Browns this year, 7-3. They're beating up on some bad teams, but they're beating up on their schedule, and I give it to them. I give them a lot of credit. I'm looking through the NFL, and I mean, did I miss a team that's been winning consistently? Seattle. Okay, I have 6 teams, Kansas City, with Patrick Mahomes, that have won consistently over the last few years. I'll go decade, 8 to 10 years, right? Would I just say 6? right? It was.
And that's my whole point.
Well,
you're not going to have 16, 20 of these guys where you're like, wow.
But that's your goal. Your goal is not just to we're gonna have one good year. We got to lead it, and then we can pay him. I don't know, but you keep looking, don't you? Or do you just say fine, we got Drew Lock, and maybe we'll have that 1 year, and then we can unload the bank on him.
Like it's the whole. I'm not 100% sold on Drew Lock, but that's why my expectations came down a bit. And I'm thinking, all right, how is this franchise going to be competitive? Are they going to be in the thing where every 2 years they're pushing out a quarterback? Everyone wants to fire the coach already?
Yep.
Because, everyone's chasing.
Well, they are. They are in that.
There's not 32 elite quarterbacks out there.
No, there's not. And your point, I understand.
Around what you have. Because the better option is draft another second and third round quarterback. Keep your fingers crossed that he becomes really good. Veteran wise, the free agency market, I don't think wows you. So if you have, all right, you want to run it back. If you're Denver, you want to see, okay, can we find some consistency in this offense? I think that's the plan that works because you're not winning that division as long as Patrick Mahomes is there.
Well.
So how can you make a push to be competitive?
Yeah, I understand your premise, and to your point, I do think you run Drew Lock back another year. Now, I think I know the answer, right? I feel like what's Drew Lock going to be, and just being competitive and marginal can't be your goal. Now, I understand it's got to be your first goal because you've been so bad, but it doesn't show me where that works. Like you're right. There's 6, 7 elite guys. You're right, and you got to keep trying to find one and develop one because your goal is not to be the Cleveland Browns. Your goal is not to be a team that makes a deep playoff run 1 year, and then we can unload and pay our quarterback a bunch of money, and then he stinks. Right? That's not anybody's goal. I see your point.
Well, but it's also real. Like, that's real life. You're not finding elite quarterbacks every other year.
Well, but you're hoping to find one once every decade, right?
Yeah. And outside of having a top 2 pick and then, say, signing Dak Prescott, I don't know what the difference maker is going to be. There's someone that pops in the draft. Like, there always is at some point in time. But I think if you have a Drew Lock, it doesn't sound good at all when you say, hey, let's be Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns.
No,
but you know what? That's a playoff team right now. And you're not going to be better than Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs at the quarterback position.
Ever? I mean, that's fine.
Not next year, not in the next 5 years.
And by the way, the Raiders are getting better.
And then I think Derek Carr's a great example. We were ready to throw him to the curb and say, all right, who's next? And John Gruden has developed a great offense around him right now where for some reason that team is made to play with the Chiefs. But it's all right with what you have, the understanding of the division you're in. How can you make a push for the postseason? I think that is
that's a formula. Yeah, I'm looking at the Browns. By the way, they've beaten one team with a winning record. They beat the Colts, but they beat up on the Bengals and Washington and the Cowboys and the Bengals. And the Texans and the Eagles. Here come the Jaguars next. I mean, they got a hell of a schedule. Get friendly with the schedule maker, too. All right, love your thoughts. Bronco fans, I know you're there. I mean, is that the way to go? You want to be the Cleveland Browns? Model yourself out. I've never heard that before, but I'm down. Well, actually, I'm not.
Which version do you want to be? I'm talking about their formula. They have 2 really good running backs. They've taken some pressure off their quarterback. The defensive pieces have worked. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. Like, they built a competitive football team. Yes, they haven't wowed you with a victory yet. But when you look at what you have, you're either the Browns that fire a coach every other year or a team that figures out a way
or the Broncos who fire your quarterback every year, right? I guess that's right. All right, 2460610. Love to hear your thoughts on that. That's I haven't heard that before. I'm listening. You might be able to sway me. I'm just not there. I'm not saying change quarterbacks unless you can get somebody that's an obvious upgrade, like Dak Prescott. But I'm just trying to get it through my whole ecosystem. Let's model ourselves after the Browns. It just sounds so foreign. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed delivers
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, playing it!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, they're not going to score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes! And the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish.
Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes a...
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the...
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's that.
Hill, little step, high window. And got the second.
To the middle.
Here we go, 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry, Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo. Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from...
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Bork driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Cropper.
Rams and Buccaneers. That's a good Monday Night Football matchup. We start your coverage at 5:30 here on the Sports Animal. I had a good one last night here on the radio station. A little Vegas Mahomes magic is like. Was there any doubt? And I thought Derek Carr was good last night for the Raiders. Derek Carr, to me, in a make or break year for him, I believe has made it. I believe Derek Carr has proved that he can be the quarterback there for the next few years. And he's progressed. I thought he led a nice drive, found Jason Witten. The only thing he did was leave a minute 12 or whatever it was on the clock for Mahomes, and that was by far way too much time. And Mahomes just carved down the field and did what Patrick Mahomes does in a 34-31 Chiefs victory over the Raiders on Sunday Night Football.
And just the threat of everything Patrick Mahomes can do, that's what opened up the game-winning touchdown pass to Travis Kelce, because Mahomes is rolling out of his pocket to his right, and the safety that is to Mahomes' left, that is supposed to be covering that space, starts running up. Jonathan Abrams starts crossing the field, vacating his zone, and then Mahomes just like, oop, boop, over the top, touchdown, good night, see you later.
Yeah, it was everything that Patrick Mahomes is, and that's you just way too much time on the clock for him, and you're right, because the threat of him getting out of the pocket, and you could see it, and I thought Collinsworth did a really good job of illustrating that. As soon as Mahomes threatened to run, Jonathan Abrams comes up, and I mean that's you sit there and say, how do you lose that guy? How is that guy so wide open? And then you see how it is. I'm going to tell you that when I look at the AFC, I still think the Chiefs are the best team, and I know the Steelers are 10-0. After that, the Ravens are out of the playoffs right now after losing to the Titans, which what a big gutsy win by that Titans. I like that Titans team so much. I think Mike Vrabel is proving to be one of the best younger coaches in the National Football League of the group of the younger coaches, right? And I don't know exactly where, the guys who've been coaching less than 4 or 5, 5 years as a head coach. I think he is terrific. But what their defense did, the guts of Ryan Tannehill, after the Chiefs, I don't know that I think there's a big separation between the Steelers, the Titans, the Colts, and the Raiders. And I throw the Raiders in there. I know the Browns are 7-3. They just got to beat someone once to show me, okay, that they belong in that. And the Raiders have beaten the Chiefs and almost beat them a second time. But I think the AFC is super competitive after the Chiefs. The Bills, I just got to throw the Bills in there too.
I think the Chiefs and Steelers are on a tier of their own. Tennessee, it was a good win, but those are two teams that are a lot better in everyone's minds than kind of are on the playing field. Lamar Jackson, by the way, he's in his own head. I don't know what's up with Lamar, but he is. It's okay to be candid. Like, I'm not going to ever say, hey, don't say something if it's on your mind. But it's something new every week for Lamar. And this week he's saying, people want us to lose, and we didn't have the belief that we could win this game. And you're like, where is this coming from? You were the league MVP last year. All right, you haven't been great offensively. You might have taken a step back, but why so many questions? So Lamar Jackson is someone I'm worried about right now, just being too much in his own head, because he did make some big time plays in that second half and made throws down the field to Andrews, but yet he's just questioning himself. He's questioning this team so much.
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from either. And Mike, I didn't hear that cue, whatever it is you gave us. I didn't hear what that was.
2 minutes.
But I think in his own head is right. To me, I don't know what's happened to them, both defensively and offensively. By the way, their defense was terrific early in the season. Now they're just good, and I'm in a different place with you on Tennessee. I really like Tennessee. I think they get Indianapolis this week. Now, they lost Indianapolis a week ago. Now they got to go to their place. Not that it matters, I don't think, with no crowds. But we'll get a good read on what Tennessee is, because I think you probably got to throw Indianapolis in there with that defense, right?
That win yesterday was great and went from, oh my gosh, we're throwing this game away, to we were able to win it after making a play and Valdez-Scantling fumbles himself. But yeah, I do think that kind of Kansas City and the Steelers had set themselves apart. And then there's a lot of things to like Indianapolis has a really good defense. Philip Rivers found a way to make some plays. Tennessee offensively, you believe that they can score against anyone, because Baltimore, to your point, they're still pretty good defensively, and Tennessee was able to make some plays in that second half. Good depth after the top.
Yeah. All right, Danny Gonzalez is next. Lobos lose 28-0 at Air Force on Friday past. Thursday next, they will be in Logan to take on Utah State. Talk to Danny Gonzalez, get you an update on his Lobo football team. Next, it's the opening drive on Pro V Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's gonna run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. The lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
8-0. Lobo football loses at Air Force Friday past. Down 21-0 at halftime. Lobo defense stiffened in the second half. Turned the ball over 3 times in positive territory. Gave the ball to the offense. 4 missed field goals and some stalled drives, and Lobos fall to 0-4. Get a chance on Thanksgiving in Logan against Utah State. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. We'll get back to your phone calls coming up in a little bit. It's our pleasure now on this Monday morning to welcome to the show the head football coach of the New Mexico Lobo football team, Danny Gonzalez, who joins us on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good morning, Danny. How you living?
Good morning, guys. We are living. We're up again to have an opportunity to compete, and excited about that. Trying to lick our wounds from Saturday, which is a sad deal. And it's not and I set it up to the game on Friday. I really think we did a terrible job of coaching them. When you're asking kids to do something either they can't or won't or unable to do, just because it works on paper, then that's a coaching error. And so we got to do a better job getting them prepared during the week.
Let me go to coaching, because I don't know if it was coaching or just better execution. First 2 drives Air Force had, they just methodically ran it down the field. Something happened. Obviously, your defense played a lot differently in the second half. Is it something you did differently schematically? Did they do something different? Did you just execute? Your defense gave you a chance to win in the second half.
Oh, I agree with that. I think it did give us a chance to win in the second half. We were out physical on both sides of the ball for most of the night, which is a really sad testament, because it's who we want to be. We want to be the most physical team, and we weren't. Schematically on defense, I think when you go into the game, there's a couple of different philosophies that you can do. I mean, when you go against a team that you think is better than you, then you're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive if you want to have a chance to win. And I don't think you ever go into a game just trying to keep somebody, the bend but don't break philosophy. We don't do that around here. And when we started the game, we had kind of 2 game plans. One, we can play man coverage, because in man coverage you get the numbers right every single time in the triple option. And by doing that on a short week, normally if you have a 2 weeks or 3 weeks to prepare for those guys, if we're a bowl game situation when we play triple option teams in bowl games, or if you get a bye week, you can teach the secondary different ways to play man coverage, meaning cross read. So when they do that half motion, the guys their eyes shift. So when that fullback, and you saw Air Force trying to figure out, because we played them obviously so many times, trying to figure out how we were playing our coverages. They'd motion that tail back halfway to the fullback and stop and see what our reaction was. Well, on a time where you have some experienced guys or time to prepare, when that guy motions the fullback, now your eyes shift to another guy, and if you do that, the numbers are perfect and you get a lot of advantages. Or with a shorter week, you just watch your one guy. And wherever that guy goes, you cover him. You don't worry about whether it's a fullback dive. I mean, those guys are responsible for one guy. And that was the idea that we had going into the game, to give our kids the best chance, because we really wanted to stone them to give our offense a chance. And after about the second drive, those guys, we got dirty eyes. I mean, they're following their guy, and then they try to look at the backfield, and they get 2 or 3 steps behind, so now that stuff's working. And then up front, physically, we were not good enough. I mean, in the first half, we weren't spilling any blocks, which we had talked about all week. Some of that is the scout team gives you such a poor look because they're not good enough to do this speed-wise. So you get it a little quicker as the game goes on. By the second half, we were doing all those things. So I think the speed of it had a little bit of something to do with it. But you shouldn't give up 3 scoring drives and be down 21-0. Now, the offense can help us out by scoring some points, but you can't be down 21-0 and then all of a sudden play great defense and still expect to win. And even though that happened, as lopsided as the score looks at the end when you look at it 28-0, that's the closest 28-0 game where we are giving ourselves an opportunity to win the football game, not be in the football game, but win the football game by turnovers, and we don't execute on offense. We got our tails whooped on offense, and that's been the challenge to those guys since we got off, really before we even got on the plane on Friday night. I mean, we screwed them up by coaching them, but you can't get physically beat up. It doesn't matter what the coaches do if you get physically whooped.
Danny Gonzalez is the head football coach of the University of New Mexico with us on the opening drive.
No, Danny, with that, is there anything else you noticed offensively, especially up front, or was it just the fact that the guys got pushed around and you're unable to establish a run game?
Well, that's the first thing was we could not run the ball the way we wanted to. Now, the very first drive of the game, we're moving the ball fine. We get a couple explosive runs, and we shoot ourselves in the foot with a holding penalty. That pass knocked us back, and then we end up having to punt the football. Trey Hall, who I've heard a lot of people criticize and all that about how bad he played. The problem with that is Trey Hall doesn't block the guys coming to rush him. Trey Hall doesn't catch the football when he's throwing to him. Now, as the game went on, Trey was friggin' running back there, running for his life, so he's on his tail most of the time. So when you're a quarterback that's friggin' you're going to get hit every time you throw it, all of a sudden the ball starts to sail on you, or you get rid of it too quick and the receivers aren't out of their route. So, I mean, he didn't play good, but he didn't have a chance. And when you get physically beat up front, and we did on both sides of the ball. Now, in the second half, we were a lot more physical on defense, and we caused some turnovers with some hits. But the last touchdown run, we get sacked on the fourth down, and that one probably bothers me more than anything because it doesn't matter. It's 21-0. It does not matter. There's 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. You played pretty good the second half. You've given the opportunity, an offense an opportunity to win. Go out there and freaking stuff them. And the very first play that they score, they get a 50-yard touchdown because we have one guy that doesn't spill and another guy that looks at the wrong key, which they had not done the entire second half. So that's a mental breakdown. That is being mentally weak in that situation because even when they got the ball all the way down to the 5-yard line, you saw a triple option team on 4th and really 6 inches, and you stop them. There's some bravado right there. But you can't give up a 50-yard run later. And then, sorry, I got off topic of your question. We didn't run the ball. Now, we did run the ball a little bit with success, but then we get off scheduled downs because we'd either drop the ball on 1st and 10, and it'd be 2nd and 10. Physically up front, though, Air Force played a lot more aggressive, and that bothers me as a person more so than even a coach.
Danny, there's an old cliche that you got to run before you to set up the pass in football, and I almost feel that your team, at least on that night, it feels to me that you got to be able to have a threat of a pass to set up your run. Is there something to that you've got to be able to throw to be able to run the football?
You know what, Jeff? That's it's a very key observation because we are kind of this basketball on grass, spread football stuff has just taken. It's like the wishbone back in the 70s. When New Mexico started running the wishbone with Coach Long, it was New Mexico and Texas were the only 2 schools in the country running it, and they were running up and down the field on everybody. And then by 1974, over 50% of the teams were running the wishbone. Well, the spread is the exact same way. And we're a version of the spread. We do have to be able to run the football, but we do set it up like that. And if you look at it, all the short screens, all the short quick passes, all of the stuff that we do that happens immediately and that right underneath, those really, they're like running plays. It's just we're using the running back out on the perimeter. We're using the running back to come inside. So we are trying to set up the run. We loosen up the defensive line because now they're chasing all those screens. They're chasing all those short, quick plays. So it does kind of set up the run with the pass. Now, when we're coming off the football, if we're not aggressive enough, it don't matter if we're freaking throwing it or running it. You're not going to have any success. And the challenge to our team on yesterday's team meeting, now we had Damon West, which is a really cool deal, come and speak to our team on Saturday night. Really a positive story, positive energy. And I try to be positive with our guys. And the more we lose, I get more angry and I become kind of a jerk in a way, I guess. But the message to our guys was, look, you have to be so invested to winning. You have to put everything emotionally on the line. Because when you do that and you lose, it hurts so bad, you find a way not to do it again. If you are afraid to be successful, and I really think we are, if you're afraid to be successful, you don't put it all out there, so when you lose, it doesn't hurt as bad. And I think we're still in the process of trying to figure out, okay, you know what, I'm going to throw it all out there, and if I get my freaking tail whooped, it's going to hurt like a dang, just the worst feeling ever, and then you get yourself back up. Just don't stop getting back up, and we're trying to get that message to them.
A few more minutes with Lobo football coach Danny Gonzalez.
Danny, where do you feel about your special teams right now? You opening kick, you had another mistake. You start that drive at the 9, and of course the field goal kicking. What's the status of the third phase of your game right now?
I think our special teams are awful right now, and myself and Coach Christian, we need to fix that immediately. That's the 4th game in a row that we have started inside our 5-yard line because of kickoff return error. If it's sometimes we get mesmerized as coaches, and this is ridiculous. We get mesmerized with certain people because we want them to do something because they look like they can do it, and now they're proving us in a game they can't do it. Well, that's not their fault. If you're asking them to do something that they physically can't do, that they're incapable of, but you keep putting them in that situation, well, then shame on the coach. That's ridiculous. So we have shored up our kickoff return team. If we have to freaking fair catch it every time, so we start at the 25-yard line, we're going to do that, which is unfortunate because it's a really explosive play if you have the right guy back there. Obviously, we haven't put the right guy back there yet. And then the kicking situation, that's ridiculous. I have never been around it, so I'm going to solve it. We started an open competition yesterday between not only George, but Andrew, Shelley, and Donovan Murphy. Donovan Murphy executed that surprise onside against Nevada perfectly. I think you have to have a little bit of kickers need to be a little bit different. When you miss, it should bother you, but you can't act like it bothers you. You just have to be like, you know what, I screwed it up, let's go next one out. And I think we're a little bit, we still need to get over some of that a little bit. So we're going to put different pressure on them in practice, and we can do that. I mean, we're going to have a competition where if you miss, you're done. I mean, you don't get a second chance. There's no more second chances. So some people don't believe in that philosophy. I do. I think if you put pressure on something, pipes burst under pressure, and either you can handle the pressure or you can't. We're going to figure out which ones can.
Last week, Josh Foley got the word from the NCAA that he's eligible. Is that a potential option for you on kickoff returns?
No. Josh has been doing a good job with right now. Last week he was our fullback on the scout team, and obviously, I mean, the fullback for Air Force rushed for 130 yards and had over 128 at halftime. So he did a good job in that spot. Josh will help us out on some special teams, but he is not in the he hadn't been back there doing the returning stuff. He's done a great job on different aspects of the special teams, and I can see him getting in on that part, but not as a return guy. We got a couple different guys back there. You might see Michael Levette back there this week. Chad Alexander will be back there. I mean, guys that I know are going to catch the ball for sure and make the right decision.
Fair enough. Tavaka this week? Yes, no, maybe? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking maybe. He did some stuff, and once again, UNLV has helped us out because normally when we're at home, we have all of the tools and stuff that we need. We can take them into the lab, and they can do some different dizziness stuff to make sure that those things are good, and those kind of tests right now out of a hotel is kind of hard, but they stepped up and were able to get us into – we can't use their stuff. Now, we are not doing anything with UNLV. The only cross-contamination is they do our laundry every day, and they do it to make sure it's safe or whatever, but we don't ever see their guys. We don't use any of their facilities, but they've given us some avenues with some medical stuff. So hopefully Tavaka will hopefully he'll practice today. I don't know. We go to practice here in about 40 minutes when we get done with this call, and then hopefully he'll be out there and get some reps. He was out there yesterday. He did not take any practice reps, but obviously you can tell we need him back. So I hope today's some better news.
All right, Lobo football coach Danny Gonzalez. Utah State, any idea? I mean, they've had it tough. They fired their coach. Their quarterback's been dismissed. You got a team that's kind of wounded, but they also had a week off. Whether they wanted it that week or not, it's somewhat akin to what you just dealt with Air Force. What do you see when you're going up there now?
I see a team up front that on defense are very, very they've got three down linemen that might be the best three down linemen that we played this year so far. And talking about, I mean, that may sound cliche-ish as a coach or whatever, but in reality, it's true. Now, their linebackers probably aren't as good as what we've gone against. Their secondary is probably very similar to ours. So I think defensively, offensively, we've got a challenge ahead of us because we didn't play very physical against Air Force, and they watch the same tape that we watch, so they'll know that they'll have some opportunities to exploit some stuff, which the best part of that deal is if we have the right kind of kids up front, which I think we do, if they will take that challenge of, you know what, I got my tail whooped last week. Ain't no way that's happening again, not 2 weeks in a row. That could be an advantage for us. And then they are struggling a little bit with personnel on offense. They removed their starting quarterback from their football team about 2 weeks ago, a transfer from Utah that I played against at ASU. That's a really good player. The backup that comes in personally, they are exactly the same kind of athlete, so they do not change their offense regardless of which quarterback's in there. So that's a positive for them because they get to do the same things, the same plays, and they don't have to do very similar to us with Trey and Tavaka. I mean, we can run the same stuff. Trey a little bit more aggressive of a runner, so we do some of those things, but it'll be similar there. Their wideouts are good enough to take you over the top, so we've got a challenge in the secondary there. But it's an opportunity to go out and win, and the message to our guys was, you have to be willing to put it all out there on the line. And if you're willing to put it all out there on the line, then you'll have a chance for success on Thursday. If you're not, then you're going to lose, and it's not going to bother you. And if that's the case, then we've got way longer to go than I thought. So that's the challenge that they've been given this week, and I love the fact that we have the opportunity to go compete.
Danny, does Jimmy John's have Thanksgiving sandwiches? How are you guys going to handle it?
Thursday, since we're playing on Thursday, there will be no turkey because of all the tryptophan in it. the scientists don't eat it. So when we get back to Vegas on Friday, we have a Thanksgiving meal planned for our team because we don't play until the following Saturday. We'll be able to sit down there in the banquet hall, tables of 4. Now they just changed some of the restrictions here in Nevada that with the governors, but we're still able to practice. We're able to do everything that we've been able to do because of the testing. We got all our tests back from yesterday's test, all negative once again. Knock on wood that we'll keep going that way. But we'll celebrate Thanksgiving on Friday. I'm very thankful. I'll say this to Lobo Nation people out there. We are going to get this thing turned around, but I'm very thankful that I have the opportunity to be your head coach. I'm thankful that we're here in Las Vegas playing with an opportunity to compete. I hope everybody stays safe this week. Enjoy Thanksgiving. And when we get back to Albuquerque, one of these days we're going to have a heck of a time celebrating victories. But right now it's here in Las Vegas, and it's what it is.
It'll be Thanksgiving Friday for dinner and Thanksgiving football for Lobo fans. 5 o'clock kickoff Mountain Time. Danny, always appreciate it. Have a safe travels up to Logan. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and appreciate it as always you spending some time with us.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. And once again, you guys, JJ, have a nice Thanksgiving lunch. See, I was listening earlier. Have a nice Thanksgiving lunch with your family before you go in to do the pregame. Jeff, you and your daughter have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Albuquerque, New Mexico, Lobo Nation, happy Thanksgiving. We're going to do everything we can to give you a Lobo victory on Thursday to celebrate and actually have a nice time after a Lobo football game. Thanks, guys. Go Lobos.
Be well, Danny. Danny Gonzalez, head football coach. A bunch in there. We'll break down when we get back. I want your thoughts at 505-246-0610. JJ, I thought there were some really interesting things in there, some real technical stuff as well that we'll get into on the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't miss Lowe's Pro-Vember.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. And had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, get it! Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Danion stripped him. Compiling the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith.
looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay. I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. It's into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling.
And off, great hit. They found
18 there. Now can the Lobos get Air Force's offense off the field again? It'll be the 5th straight time. This is a quarterback draw, and it's knocked out again. The Lobos have done it for a 3rd consecutive possession. New Mexico creates a turnover.
Robert Portnoy, UNM Radio. 3 turnovers led to 0 points. Offense stalled, kickers missed, and now you got to go find a kicker. It's wide open. I'd say go find a soccer player, but, well, you can find a women's soccer player, right? She could play. I mean, Katie Nida.
Yeah,
do that. Find someone who could kick. I know it's only 3 points at a time, but you make 3 of those 4, and at 21-9, it's a totally different feel of a ball game than it is at 21-0 after just failing, coming up to empty after 3 turnovers. And I think it was a big momentum swing. And yeah, would you want to get the ball in the end zone? Of course you do. And you went backwards, and you got offensive line issues there. But I think it's a huge swing. The difference between just say 3 of the 4. 21-9 as opposed to 21-0. That game has a whole different feel in the 4th quarter.
Yes, it does. And it's a situation, there was a 50 and a 51-yarder in there. But Danny Gonzalez wants a team that has a bona fide field goal kicker. Like, he doesn't want to be looking at 50 and 51-yarders like, that's just too long for a college kicker. That's not what he's used to. And this program has shown you that you can find guys at a high level to kick field goals. I
mean, go Kenny Bird and John Sullivan and Wes Zunker, and there was a really, for a while, look at the guy who's, I think, the best kicker, second best kicker in the NFL right now, Jason Sanders.
Yeah, and Rocky Long, he told you, he's like, every 4 years you find a guy that you give a scholarship.
Well, that was my suggestion. Every 3 years, give a scholarship to a kicker, because at that point, I remember 30-something% of games come down to 3 points or less. And my whole thought was every 3 years, use one of your 25 scholarships and go get a kicker. I don't know if that worked or not, but he found kickers. Dan, good morning. We found you, or at least you found us. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Dan.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Good, Dan. How are you?
I'm vertical, brother.
That's a big deal.
Hey, so easy to support Coach Gonzalez. For me, he's real. He's super supportive to his athletes. He tells it like it is. He's not BSing us. You can just tell his desire to get that team on track. I've just never been so supportive to a Lobo football coach like I am to Coach Gonzalez. Not because he's my tocayo or anything like that, but he just, I don't even feel bad about the losses. I feel good. When you guys have him on, he just makes me feel better and makes me feel like, okay, we're on the right track. This guy's going to get it together. I just have to call in, and it's so easy to crap on these guys when they're losing, but I think it's really important to lift them up when they're doing something right. I think he's doing everything right. He just needs the team to cooperate, and he needs all of us to definitely stay behind him 100%. That's what I've got today, Jeff.
Get a lot of that, Dan. Have a good Thanksgiving. Appreciate you. Dan called at 505-246-0610. Rudy, you're up next. Good morning, Rudy. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Rudy. Oh, wait.
Yeah, good morning. I was kind of sad. I was commenting to my brother that Saturday night we looked like Beavis and Butthead on offense. We couldn't score.
Friday night.
And I don't know what happened, but Steinkamp had only missed one field goal, right? Coming into that game. And Shelley was nails last year. So, when the wheels fall off, they fall off. I thought the biggest difference in the game, though, is we got whipped on the lines.
Yep, no doubt.
Our offensive line did not give Trey Hall any time. Every time he dropped back to pass, we were just crushed on the left end. And you got to have some time to throw, and you got to have some time to look at your receiver. You can't just take off every time. And we didn't make them pay for crashing that end. They did that consistently. That guy was just going to the quarterback, and we couldn't stop that. But last year, what do you think the score would have been? And JJ's watched this team. It would have been 48-0 at least.
Well, it had that feel after the first two drives, and that was JJ. I think that was the first time this season that I, kind of slipped into uh-oh mode. Like this had that feel for a second.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing with this football team is even when they play such a bad game offensively, 28-0 is not nice, but in years past that is easy. 42-7 or 52-10, just some ridiculously lopsided score.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it wasn't usual. They didn't go in the night before. They didn't stay overnight. They flew in the day of the game, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so that disrupts your routine. And, guys, the moment they start playing college football, you get there the night before, you get a good night's sleep, you walk through.
Look, there's nothing normal about this year. Yeah, you just got to deal with that.
Give Air Force 3 weeks, Jeff.
Yeah, and I don't know. See, I don't know what they were doing, if how much they were preparing, how much they were on COVID. But yes, they were off for a couple of weeks. So yeah, everything about it was abnormal. Sure, no doubt.
I mean,
no doubt.
Air Force looked extremely prepared for that game.
No doubt.
And so UNM has the same dilemma this week. Regardless of whether they have a bye week or not, they got to go up to Utah State and play a team that had a bye week and had a chance to get healthy and rested. But I love the fight of this team, and before it's all over, they're going to win at least a game. And I'm calling it this weekend. I was worried about Air Force because I've been up to the academy, and I know how tough it is to win up there. It's one of the toughest places to win. So, you got to chalk it up for what it is, but I hope this Thursday they'll treat us to a Thanksgiving dinner and a Thanksgiving win. I really hope this team can get that done.
They're 5-point favorites, Rudy. Appreciate you. Good to hear you. Enjoy the week.
You too.
Rudy called at 246-0610. So you said they're 5-point favorites, huh, to open up?
That was the first line I saw yesterday.
All right. Get more into what Danny had to say, because I want to get there. We've got a couple lines open for you at 505-246-0610. I want to get into the Mahomes magic. Best football game I watched on Saturday was the late one. Michigan and Rutgers. Really? Yeah. I don't know what you thought, but it was the best one I saw all day. Michigan and Rutgers. So it was incredible. All right. So we'll get into all that. Keep them coming. Here come the holidays, fellas. They're here. Thanksgiving week. You're thinking about everyone on your list, how you're going to take care of everyone in your life. Bottom line, do not forget to take care of you. You cannot take care of anyone else, guys. Let's take care of yourself first. So if you're not feeling right, if you're dealing with fatigue, low T, erectile dysfunction, call New Mail. Take care of it. In a year when everything seemingly is out of your control, this is something that you can absolutely control. New Mail's right here at Albuquerque. They can help you deal with ED, depression, even hair loss. You just have to pick up the phone and make the call at 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit them at newmail.com. It's not going away by ignoring it. It's not going to take care of itself. And the bottom line is, it's nothing to be ashamed of, guys. Men hit a certain age, and these things are normal. The beauty of New Mail is you can battle normal. You can feel better. New Mail's number is 505-652-1688. Enjoy the holiday season and give yourself the gift of feeling great. Make the call. New Mail, 505-652-1688, or visit newmail.com and feel better.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam on home.
let's get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what
Hill's gonna just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish.
Gonzalez. Oh, you got a highlight coming in. Hit it.
Got it.
Vedral is in the gun. He's got two backs to either side. Sends Pacheco in motion. He's back to throw. Pumps. A lot of time. Looks, throws deep in the end zone. That ball is intercepted. Michigan wins the football game. 48-42 with a stop in triple overtime.
Michigan radio, courtesy of Learfield. So never has Michigan radio been that happy to beat Rutgers,
What
ever.
a sad state of affairs for Michigan football.
Tell me you weren't bummed Rutgers didn't pull that off. That's the best game I watched Saturday night. Addie was up watching her movies, till playing games. Till, by the way, these kids today on the Zoom, 2:33 in the morning. God bless them, man. But tell me you weren't bummed Rutgers didn't win the game.
100%. You just wanted to keep seeing the downfall of Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. You're just in it for the disaster ending. And somehow, some way, Greg Schiano and Rutgers was up, and then Michigan comes back in the second half. Ridiculous triple overtime. Rutgers was at the point where they didn't have anything left. It was the screenplay that they ran was fantastic, though. The rollout and then throwback to the tight end. I think that was the second overtime, and the third overtime. Yeah.
That was the touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the third overtime, they're like running like wide receiver passes. Like they were just out of everything. They're like, we have nothing left.
Well, they both missed a field goal in the first overtime. Michigan's was a longer field goal. Rutgers missed a totally makeable field goal. And that was the one where you just went, oh, there's their chance. But it slipped away. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J. Paul, and lucky clean back Josh. Man, is he lucky without a tramp stamp of the Jets and Joe Namath and legs and everything. Edward, good morning. Welcome to the show. Happy Monday to you. Welcome to our day.
Well, thanks for having me. You know, I was watching that game intently between the Jets and the Chargers. Probably two of the coolest uniforms all weekend, just spectacular color-wise. And I was I gotta be honest, I was rooting for the upset because I wanted to trap.
We all were.
That's so awesome. Yeah, this is the best week ever, man. Thanksgiving, just a giving of thanks all week. And we have a cornucopia of topics. Number one. That Michigan game, we were all rooting against Michigan, and Rutgers to pull the upset. And, the Patriots, 40% of their defensive starters are from Rutgers, so I'm sure Belichick was on that game as well. But, boy, the Lobos, forget scheduling Arkansas Pine Sol and Sister Christian and the Home Depot All-Stars. We need to get Michigan and Penn State on our schedule.
You know?
The mighty have fallen. They may pay us to play them now. That's so awesome.
They do.
But, indeed. Oh, I'm sorry. We may have to pay them to play, now.
It's a different way.
Indeed. So then I hear a quote yesterday, because I do pay attention, and Baltimore's dynamic quarterback. It's like people are rooting for us to lose. Well, welcome to sports, my friend. Everybody outside of your personal family, Louisville alumni, and the state of Maryland is rooting against you to lose. Now, maybe not him, but the rest of his team, had they not jumped around last year and acted like they won the Super Bowl every week and like they invented football, kind of like the Clippers did this year, maybe people wouldn't be rooting against you. Just a thought, my friend. But I think he'll correct his issues and improve. And he's a likable kid, Heisman winner. I really like him. But, boy, it's a postulate of life. Either you humble yourself or you will get humbled. In football, the game will eventually humble you. It's just a matter of time. The Crusher went 2-2 this weekend. Against my better judgment, I picked a Patriots game. And Denver, I went against Denver. And Miami, they yanked their starter, the Dolphins. Just a complete collapse up there in Denver. But good win by the Broncos. The one thing I wanted to share with you, yesterday, Wentz, He gives up 9 points. He throws a pick six, and he takes a safety. He gave the other team 9 of their 16 points, and they lose. And you know what, guys? They fall to first place in the NFC East. So now we have a game on Thursday between the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team, and the winner of that game will have 4 wins unless they tie, and will lead that division. I didn't think we'd have a 5-win division winner, but it might be the case where they're all going to beat up on each other. We might get a 5-win division winner. Hey,
Hosting a
winners,
playoff game.
how about the Lakers? And they will host a playoff game, and they're probably going to host the Tampa Brady Gronkaneers. Speaking of winners, the Lakers just picking up exactly what they need. You know, free agent after free agent signing. They get Montrezl Dizzle, that Louisville player that, you know, played great for the Clippers and was 6th man of the year. Then they pick up an experienced Gasol, which, by the way, he should hand over that Defensive Player of the Year he won a few years ago to LeBron because it was a job.
That'll happen.
A steal job. But I just think what they've done, and then they pick up the point guard from Oklahoma City, they got better. And a lot of teams, you know, I don't know, man, but it's going to be thrilling. And then lastly, tonight's game, I had high aspirations for the Tampa Brady Gronkaneers. But when you can't beat Chicago and you get thumped twice by the Saints, which, by the way, the Saints, their last 5 games without Drew Brees, they're 5-0 and probably have looked better. What does that say? But I think that the Rams are tougher than people think, and my goal, my hope for the Tampa Bay is that they get to 10 wins and get a wild card win. Last point real quick, Harbaugh, it's okay. You don't have to shake hands. He grew up in the Patriots organization and cut his teeth as a special teams coach. It's okay to not. It's not a big deal, but use that same logic for other people when they choose not to shake hands after a game. It's okay. People get emotional. He's a great coach. It's just an observation. Gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving week. Have a great day.
See you. Big one tonight. Rams and Tampa Bay, and you'll hear it on the radio. A bunch in there, JJ. By the way, I don't know. Did you find, as we're watching Rutgers and Michigan late night, did you find the Liberty game, NC State? Because that was another good one over on the Arizona. What is it now? Prime Sport. What is it?
That was on
AT&T Sportsnet.
AT&T
Rocky
Sportsnet.
Mountain.
Rocky Mountain here locally on
the
family of networks. And speaking of rooting against someone, for some reason, I just don't like
me too.
And I just see him lose every game. And I was like, yeah, NC State, good job.
15-14.
Hearing about Liberty being undefeated. I'm like, all right, cool. You beat Syracuse. By the way, what a love-hate relationship, field goal kicking. You know, if Virginia Tech doesn't call timeout, they did. It happened.
That's right.
They win that game. And this one, Liberty has a field goal blocked at the end.
There was nothing that just magnified 2020 like Saturday. Watching Rutgers take Michigan to the wire, watching Liberty be ranked and Marshall's ranked, and Nevada beat San Diego State, and I mean, it was just what am I watching? Northwestern beats Wisconsin
on CBS, dude.
The Aztecs. Yeah, with Gary Danielson.
SEC was like, we don't have any games for it. And they're like, oh, I guess we got to send you all to Reno. They're like, we're here for the first time. I love this new television deal for the Mountain West. I think overall the exposure has been fantastic. Where was that kid, by the way, before for the Aztecs? Like, he cramped up, got hurt late. But
he was bad late. And whether he cramped up or whether, he wasn't good.
Man, but that first half, that was like a different dynamic for that offense.
But then, but the pass he missed on 3rd down at the goal line to win the game, where he had the tight end wide open in the flat. I mean, that Aztecs win that game. They walk away, win that game. But they didn't, and Nevada's 5-0. Think about this. Somebody may be watching your home or business, and if a criminal wants to break in, they notice when you come and go. Aaron Jones owns International Protection Service, IPS. And what he's got for you is highly trained armed officers who can be the eyes protecting your home or business. On-site guards or 24-hour patrols. And that way the bad guys cannot predict a good time to target you. Look, I've entrusted Aaron and his officers for years to watch the house. If I go out of town, and this is for you go out of town, they patrol your home. Pick up the newspaper, the mail, roll the garbage cans to the curb and back on garbage day. Just give your home that lived-in look. And now with the holidays here, you're going to have packages on the curbs, especially, or on the porch, especially this year. Don't take a chance. Protect what's important to you. Secure your life and call International Protective Service. 505-897-2420 is the number. 897-2420. You can go to ipsglobal.com. IPS is committed to making Albuquerque a safer place to live and do business.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what
Hill's gonna just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball line. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Hill, the senior pop.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go, they've got a shot, they have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good! What a three that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Really good matchup tonight. NFC, Rams and Buccaneers to round out your pre-Thanksgiving football. Then you get some action to lead you into football. What do you do on Thursday night, JJ? So the late game is Ravens and Steelers, which is as good as it gets in the NFL. And you also got the Lobos and Utah State. You kind of split screen that thing, huh?
PIP, split screen, TV, tablet, or, of course, you can always just have the NFL on your TV and turn on the radio.
The radio. How about that? That's right. And you can listen to Rob. All right, Jess, good morning.
Another missed field goal.
What's up, Jess? How you living? What's up?
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Radio. No one listens to radio nowadays. Look, I love Danny Gonzalez. I love everything. But as a Lobo fan, we've heard everything. For what? 10, 15, what are we going on now?
A while.
So it's always glad, I'm always happy to hear things. But until something changes, they're just words. To be honest with you, they're just words. And, I get it, but I'm just still waiting for the day that a quarterback coming in or an opposing wide receiver doesn't have a career day where their NFL highlight going into the draft is going to be against the Lobos. It seems like every quarterback for the last 5 years that comes into play the Lobos has a career 450-yard passing, 4 or 5 touchdowns, great rating. So until that slows down, they're all just words, and I think Danny knows that. He doesn't sound like he's a talker. I mean, he does very good on the radio, but he doesn't. To me, he's more of a let's show me guy. I mean, he just kind of says that when he's talking. Show me, and you get one chance, which is interesting because I don't know if he has the recruiting base to be able to do that yet. Just only giving one chance to a guy. I mean, you don't have that good of players yet to just be benching dudes. But, hey, it's whatever plan he has. But as fans, I guess as a Lobo fan, you just blindly have to support everybody because that's just what we do. But hopefully it will start showing. It will start showing, hopefully. And then the words won't be
Wouldn't you say, just wouldn't you say they've looked better?
Until this last game, yes. I thought that the effort has been great. I think the offense has completely changed, which is weird because with Bob Davies with an S,
I got
it. He kind of, when he came in, he kind of had this mentality that he couldn't recruit guys to run a regular offense, right? That's what he kind of pitched us, right? It was, I have to change this up to an option because those are the guys that we can get, and that's how we're going to compete in this league, which I think kind of handcuffed us and kind of put us in that corner of, well, I guess that's all we can do. I don't think, and this is a much more exciting offense. I know, boring, 6 yards and dust, blah, blah, blah. But we still didn't end up winning anything with that option. Sure, we were the number one rushing team in the nation once. But what did that get us? Actually, did we win a bowl game that year?
It did. It went 9-4 that year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is better. It is. The effort's better, especially at the end of the game. It is. It visibly is. You're right. But let's moving forward to the NFL real quick, having watched the Packers this weekend, and I know that everybody is bashed on their draft, but when I see all these rookie wide receivers just killing the game, and seeing what still Green Bay is lacking, which they kind of remind me a little bit of the Lobos. Whoever comes in rushing has a career day. Whoever comes in passing has a career day. They have no defense whatsoever. No defense. And then for them to take Jordan Love, I'm still, as a Packers fan, I'm going to be pissed about that until he becomes Aaron Rodgers, just like we were pissed about that before. It's in the same sort of realm. I think Favre had a good chance, at the end of his career, and they never gave him weapons. I believe Aaron Rodgers turns 37 here in a couple weeks. He's turning into, he's going to get into that old man status. You can't get him a wide receiver, and then you go into the second round and you draft a running back that has done nothing this year, absolutely nothing. Our defense stinks, and we need more offensive weapons. When you see people like the Saints, the Buccaneers, these top-tier teams in the NFC, they all have weapons. What does Green Bay have? If you're not a Green Bay fan other than Devontae Adams, could you maybe name another wide receiver? You could probably name the guy that fumbled it this weekend to lose the game.
Yep, Marquez,
and believe
Valdez,
me, he's been consistent
Scantling.
in dropping passes and fumbling balls.
Yeah,
and he's
Lazard was
supposed to
hurt.
be the number 2 or 3. So it's ridiculous. The draft is now showing. Almost sometimes you look at something like Carolina. Carolina, what, first team ever to take all 8 dudes defense. And look at their defense this year. And think about what it's going to be in the next couple years. Drafts is everything. But, gentlemen, have a wonderful day. It was a terrible weekend since the Cowboys won. And how pathetic would it be for all the junk I've talked this year about that garbage team if they make the playoffs? Now, if they make the playoffs, I think this is the year the NFL looks at that and go, is that good for our league? Is that good for our sport? Is that good for our fans? Because it's not. It's mediocre. It's pathetic. None of those teams deserve to make the playoffs, and at least one of them is. And I think this is time for a rule change.
See you, Jess. Enjoy the week. That was a great call.
Laters.
Great call. He's right on the Packers, JJ. He's so right on their draft and what they are and what they are not. He dead on, and he's pissed off Packer fan. Bring it. Vent or gloat on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos. Step back. High arcing. Play!
He needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're not going to score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes! And the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak. Ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals. The 3-0. Katenge! Let me clean up the mess. He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks.
Here's a snap,
First down.
ball's down. Kick is on the way, and it's through! It's through! It went in! It went in! And the Colts win it! A walk-off winner for Rodrigo Blankenship. The Colts win 34-31 in overtime.
Pulled that one out of the hat. Colts radio. Colts beat the Packers yesterday in overtime after Aaron Rodgers leads his team down the field and forces overtime. And then the Colts and Phillip Rivers with a big victory. I want to go back to Jess's call in the last segment, and if you didn't hear, he was kind of into Danny Gonzalez a little bit, saying, you know, we've heard this before, and show me something. And a little bit of defense of this coach. I'm not sure what you all expected. I'm not sure what people expected to see this year. I think we had a lot of conversation over the summer about what do you expect and what will you accept. And I think for the most part, you wanted to see a team that was more competitive, played with heart, and improved, and won a game or two. And I think you've seen everything except for the last one. They haven't won yet. And I think that will come. But I don't even think it's arguable to see improvement both offensively and defensively. Now, you played the last two games with your backup quarterback. And I want you to keep in mind, this isn't Danny's recruiting class. This isn't this, right? They're playing with the former staff. Now, I'm not telling you they didn't recruit well. I'm just, obviously they recruited differently. You had attrition, whether guys opted out or decided to transfer. You lost some of your best players into the transfer portal. You've got the COVID situation. You're the only team in America that is based away from campus, that has to play everything, spend 6-7 weeks completely away from your campus and everything, and you're retooling everything. So I don't know what it is you expected. Danny's taking responsibility. He's obviously upset. Yeah, as a coach speak, have you heard it? Okay, and you haven't seen a result yet. But I would argue that you have seen results while you haven't seen the result, if that makes any sense. I just don't know what it is you expected to see. Did you expect to see an instant turnaround and this team be contending for a championship?
Yes, it's a situation that they've been better in so many more areas than I anticipated them through 4 games. I understand the frustration. You get to a point where you start to have a little belief, and then you have such a big letdown like you did on Friday night. But it's also still only 4 games into year 1 with a roster that won how many games over the last few years? With players that lost confidence in themselves, that didn't believe they could be any good. And that's a real thing. And Danny has talked about that, the process of reinstilling, hey, you guys are playing football for a reason. Like, whatever happened last year, those schemes, those records, so be it. You got to believe in yourself right now. And there is a real element to that, especially when you're looking at college athletes and trying to develop a football team. So I'm not at the point of where it's just all falling on deaf ears. To me, I still think that Danny Gonzalez has a good pulse of this fan base, that given everything that they are facing this year, being a team that's on the road the entire season, being a team that doesn't get to host a home game with fans, no matter the situation, that Danny is still a guy that can present a message that will carry over, even if they end up only winning 1 or 2 games this year. But I think his message is something people are going to say, okay, I'm still in. I believe that you, Rocky Long, I think we're getting to know Derek Wareheim as a pretty good offensive guy, given the fact what he's been able to put in place with this team that absolutely had zero identity last season, that it's something to believe in.
I think we underestimate a little bit the toll that it's taken being in Vegas. And I'm hearing around college football, the fatigue of testing 3 times a week, the fatigue of all everything that's in place, the protocols, I'm hearing more and more what's going on around college football. I can only imagine what's going on with this team who's living in this hotel and meeting in an empty casino and doing everything on the road away from home and just grinding and try to get a win. So I'm going to come to Danny's defense a little bit on Jess coming at him like that, because I just think, yeah, you haven't seen the result yet. And I get, yeah, I've heard it all before, show me a win. And I get it. And that's why I think one win, JJ, is going to go a long way. Now, they're going to maybe win this Thursday, and you're going to go, yeah, but they beat who'd they beat? Well, all right, they beat a team that, by the way, was an 11-win team 2 seasons ago, if they can win this game. But let's see what happens, because Utah State's looking at this as a get-right week, too, now. Here comes New Mexico, and Utah State's absolutely looking at this as a get-right week.
That's fair. Like, what happened 2 years ago has zero bearing on who Utah State is now. It's evident when you look at coach is gone. They had an issue with their starting quarterback, dismissed him a week ago, and you're looking at a football team that's been outscored 37-11 this year. Utah State's played good teams. Like, they started, it was Boise State, San Diego State, Nevada, and Fresno State for them. And we're seeing that those are pretty good teams. So I don't necessarily know what Utah State was expecting, but it is an absolute mess. But it's fair because, yes, you're right. The Lobos have been the team on everyone's schedule that goes, all right.
No doubt.
All right, here we go. This is our chance.
Yeah, no doubt. I just needed, I don't know what you expect. I'm going to tell you, my eye test tells me they're better. That for the first, well, that's not fair, but maybe it is. I look forward to watching them. Friday night, I was looking forward to watching them. I was interested to see what they had. And I can't tell you that to the back end of last year, I was looking forward to watching Lobo football. I watched them. I had to. But were you and you did too? But towards the end, back into last season, were you looking forward to watching those games?
No.
Now you kind of are, right?
And it's the combination of, yes, it's a honeymoon period, but who Danny Gonzalez is, year one, you think, okay, they can rebuild the foundation for this program and get them competitive. And yeah, the big plays, to Jess's point too, against the defense, that's going to hunt them all year long. And that's something that's not going to go away this season. By the way, Romeo Dubs caught a 50-yard touchdown to beat San Diego State.
San Diego State.
He had 133 yards. Like, that dude is pretty good. Unfortunately, instead of just 1, he had 3 against the Lobos. But that's an NFL caliber wide receiver.
He's a pro, right? Romeo Dubs is a pro, don't you think? Like a third-round pro? Yeah, I think so too. Larry said, Lobo fans, please relax. The adversity Lobo football has faced since game 1 of the 2019 season with Coach Davies' health incident to being season-long road warriors in the strangest year for anyone. Coach Gonzalez has a project on his hands, and if we as a community and fan base do not stick with him and the program, we will never build what he and Coach Long know is possible. Yes, the game versus Air Force was a downer. Still no reason to throw in the towel. Go Lobos and keep grinding. Look, in every process, every building process, there's setbacks. There just is. No matter, if you built a house and you have a setback because something goes wrong or a permit or whatever it is you've built, your business, you've had a setback. Was Friday a setback? Yeah, I think it was. I think Danny feels it was. I think it was a setback for the offensive line and the offense. I'm going to tell you, I feel like it was a step forward defensively after the first 2 drives. But, Jeff, they got manhandled. Yeah, they did. I just, to me, what I'm watching, and again, yes, where you starting from was bad. You won 2 games each of the last 2 years. That's 4 games. So you've won 4 games basically, and whatever this season counts as, but 2.5 seasons.
I
That
think
was bad.
A big thing is, did you think that going into the 4th game of this year, once we figured out what the Mountain West schedule was going to be at Air Force, that you'd feel like the Lobos had a legitimate chance to win that game? I think that's a big tell of where this team has gone through the first month of the season.
Yeah, now they didn't win. And I get it. I just like, all right, just show me a win. Give me something to feel good about. And I get that. Like, one win's going to go a long way. If they can get a couple, that'd be great. They've got, 3 games left, right? They've got Utah State, Fresno State, and Wyoming. Got 3 left. A win or 2 is going to go a long way. 505-246-0610 is how to get to us today. 505-246-0610. Emails have come in, and I'll get to some of these. Jeff at 610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. We'll go through the Mountain West Conference in case you missed some of the late stuff. They, as JJ said, were featured on CBS. The big boys. That was your A crew, your A SEC crew on CBS doing a Mountain West game the other day. It actually sounded really cool.
Sounded like they had some fun in Reno.
I think that's right. And we still got some more NFL to get through as well. Do you believe what happened to the Patriots? Patriots.
That was a huge Deshaun Watson game, but Jeff, we have to talk about the Taysom Hill experience.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Join us for your favorite.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time. 2-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're not going to score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, it's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
The outside, running an out route.
Davis into the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davis is back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davis into Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he could spin that
Touchdown.
football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the wind at his back, but
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends.
Taysom Hill in the gun. Now he motions Montgomery up to the line of scrimmage, and Taysom's going to keep it. Porter off the sideline, touchdown! Taysom Hill with the quarterback power we've been asking for, and he walks into the end zone. Taysom Hill from 2 yards out, and a lot of Atlanta Falcons players standing around with their hands on their hips, wondering how that got by him.
Saints Radio with the highlight you've been asking for. Taysom Hill, 2 touchdowns rushing. And that's what their offense is going to look like. That's Sean Payton telling you I'm a genius. That's what he's saying to you. I'm smarter than y'all. And everybody's telling me this won't work, and Taysom Hill can't do it. And I'm going to show you why Taysom Hill can. He threw for 233 yards, ran for 2 touchdowns, utilized Michael Thomas for the first time this season, 104 yards for one of the best receivers in the NFL. And Taysom Hill, honestly, for 1 week, and let's see if that's sustainable, that was brilliant usage of Taysom Hill.
Okay, the first quarter, I was losing my mind. I was like, this is ridiculous. They're not. Everything was a gadget play. Everything was gimmicky. I was losing my mind, but I had to take a deep breath. I'm like, all right, they had a week to prepare for this. This is why Jameis Winston came in to sub Drew Brees last game versus everything that is a complete 180 for Taysom Hill. So I took a deep breath. I let it play out, and it went as expected in terms of Taysom Hill in the red zone, being a running threat, and then just keep it simple. Like, all right, your route with Michael Thomas, he gets open, hit him on the break. Get him involved. That made a ton of sense. Now, it kills Alvin Kamara in the red zone, but they're more dynamic in the red zone with Taysom Hill. I'm not sure this is a thing that can work for years to come for the New Orleans Saints. I don't buy into that. But for them to get by the next 4 to 5 weeks, because it feels like every day we find out that Drew Brees broke another rib, and I didn't know it was humanly possible to have that many ribs in his body. The Taysom Hill experience was fun to watch, and it's here to stay until Drew Brees comes back.
Yeah, I don't know if it's sustainable long term either, just because I don't know if you can keep him healthy, getting hit that much. But it was sustainable, and he throws a better ball than maybe we thought on a consistent basis, and they beat a team that had been playing well in Atlanta. So I think a couple of keys here. First of all, you've got a weapon in Michael Thomas. Utilize it, right? And I'm going to go back to what we talked about with the Lobos. Can the pass help you in the running game, right? Well, establishing Michael Thomas early, and they went to him a lot in the first half, to me made them back off of some of, we've got to focus on Taysom Hill, because, oh my goodness, we've got this beast of a receiver that we've got to worry about again. And you've got Alvin Kamara. And so what they've got offensively helps that weapon, right? Because you've got to worry about so many other things. There's Kamara. I've got to worry. Latavius Murray had a big play. You've got to worry about some of the receivers, and then it opens him up. By the way, he's really talented. It worked, JJ. It worked. Now, does it work as long as they need it to work? We'll see. Does Taysom Hill take them to the Super Bowl? Here's the other piece. What did they have? 10 sacks yesterday? Whatever it was, I thought the New Orleans defense puts them in a position to win. The New Orleans defense dominated Tom Brady 2 weeks ago, dominated Matt Ryan yesterday. I'm not ready to tell you that I think they're a Super Bowl defense, but I'm not ready to tell you that I don't think they are either. They've shown flashes that their defense can be really, really good and be a difference maker.
Absolutely. They're a defense that you can believe in. And when you look at the overall team package, they're one of the few teams in the league that checks boxes on both sides. Like, oh, their defense can win you a game, so can their offense, because so many teams right now are one or the other. It's like you have a really good defense in Chicago, you have no offense. You look at other teams in the NFC, you try to run it out. It's like Seattle. You have a really good offense, you don't have a defense. But they're a team, and similar to Tampa Bay, and I think I'd put the Rams in there at times where they check boxes on both sides of the football. And what we saw with Taysom Hill, yeah, it was easy to joke about it, and I do not believe Taysom Hill is the answer long term. But what you have to do right now, he's a good enough athlete, makes the simple passes to Michael Thomas, made some plays, did not turn the football over, at least throwing the football. He had that fumble on the run. This can absolutely work until Drew Brees is healthy.
Yeah. All right. 505-246-0610. Sean, I was so looking forward to Sean standing over Josh is back with the gun and
giving him the tattoo.
That's right, and painting Joe Namath on his tramp stamp area. What's up, Sean? It was close.
It wasn't close enough. I was watching the Chargers out-jet the Jets up until the last couple of drives, and then the Jets did their thing. We have Denzel Mims, the guy, he was banged up for a long time, but he's proven he can go deep. And for some reason, that only happened a handful of times last night. Well, this afternoon, in past tense. But it's so frustrating to watch the Jets play. Whether it's Darnold, Flacco, it doesn't matter who's quarterback. Frank Gore shouldn't be getting this many carries. I love the dude. I love his effort. I love his passion. But he shouldn't be our feature back.
That's probably right.
And even Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is what, third-string quarterback? Second-string? He put on a display. And the Jets were lackluster. Even when it showed we had some energy, that's because every other time we had the ball, it looked miserable.
Now what, man? Where do you get a win now? Where's it coming from?
Fortunately, they're officially eliminated from the playoffs with the loss.
How about that? Before Thanksgiving.
You know what's bad? When we wouldn't even be competitive in the NFC East.
You might be.
Oh, no, we still have the worst record there.
Well, you would. But have you played any of those teams? I guess you did, right? Are they playing any of the NFC East?
Only for the Snoopy Bowl, right?
Oh.
Like that means the NFL. But what I feel like the Jets are doing for us Jets fans is they're waiting for it to mean something. It's going to be the last game against the Patriots, and that's going to be our first win, and that's how we're going to end the season, and that's going to be a huge stepping stone. And Adam Gase is this new season, and he'll lead us into another season, and it's going to be the same old Jets.
Same old Jets. All right, man.
You guys, thanks for bringing the misery with me. We'll see what 0-16 goes like.
0-16,
be well, Sean.
baby.
Be well, Sean. Now I'm kind of rooting for him to go 0-16.
I told you, it doesn't matter. 1-15, whatever. 0-16, you matter. You go down
It
and
mattered.
go down
it mattered. It was going to be a historical tramp stamp. It absolutely mattered.
100%.
It absolutely mattered. If they could have lost to the Chargers, first of all, it would have been just beautiful Chargers. And the tramp stamp of Joe Namath, putting on legs, pantyhose, it just would have been sensational. All right, I got a bunch of emails, like this one that says, most overrated, Carson Wentz or Carson Strong? Ooh. I think Carson Wentz. It says, P.S. Boy, your Aztecs suck this year, but they're still being considered for the Crapple Cup. Washington State got canceled, the Apple Cup, and so Washington's looking for teams to play. San Diego State's game versus Fresno State got canceled this weekend, so the Aztecs may go up play Washington because BYU opted out. I mean, we're just trying to piece together games.
Your Aztecs lost by 5. They really suck.
To a 5-0 team, by the way. And if the quarterback throws the ball, I mean, my Aztec boys were losing their mind. Oh, we're horrible. We stink. This is bad. We play UCLA in basketball on Wednesday, by the way. UCLA, San Diego State in basketball on Wednesday, which will be fun. And I'm like, who's calling those plays? I'm like, dude, the play was called perfectly. The quarterback that you guys all fell in love with from Georgia Tech in the first half, I mean, just throw the ball.
I texted you. I was like, wow,
I know. I know. But tell me the third down play wasn't the perfect call. Wasn't there? Just throw the ball.
Yeah. It was bad.
And you win the game. You win the game if you throw the ball on about as easy as, I mean, you're rolling the right way. The guy's wide open. You got a ton of room to throw. Whatever. But we're gonna watch games come together. I think they're gonna see some weird stuff this week on the scheduling too. San Diego State, Fresno State's already been called off. Washington State's been called off. BYU's looking for a game, but they wanted a guarantee that Washington couldn't give them, and we'll see. I mean, can some of these Mountain West teams that are called off play each other? San Diego State play somebody? I know, everybody's looking for a game. 505-246-0610. Emails are in, jeff@610knml.com, jj@610knml.com. What rookie threw 4 interceptions? You want to talk about a franchise that's in dire need of a quarterback? They're going to get one. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
The Sports Animal is your home for every Monday night.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass. Wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the...
And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. David Bond back, alley-oop, put it down. Dunkalicious, how about it?
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. Day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24.
So this is that cowboy song? A little Charlie Pride for you? Is that what this is? Look at my, if you're not watching on ProView, you're missing. It's a bunch of white people trying to dance. Best line I heard this morning I just heard it during the break. Well, now the Bengals need Andy Dalton. That's messed up. Just messed up. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, Josh, J-Pole. You can take that echo out of my ear. Thank you. Appreciate it. Dallas. JJ, who needs Andy Dalton more, the Cowboys or the Bengals?
Yes.
I like Cowboys. Andy Dalton, the most sought-after quarterback in the NFL. All right, I told you there was a rookie quarterback that threw 4 interceptions. That was Jake Luton. What do you do? Jacksonville is Jake Luton. He was.
I bet they wish they were the Cleveland Browns now.
Well, it's great. There's your standard, the Cleveland Browns. It's like the people who tell me, I'm glad Biden's president. Well, he's better than that guy. Well, you just spent the last 4 years telling me that guy was the worst ever, but now he's your standard, right? It's like the Cleveland Browns. They're the worst franchise.
Man.
The worst franchise the last.
Everyone says shoot for the stars. No, just get to the top of the mesa first. Like, let's just get there, and then we'll see what happens.
You go back to Gardner Minshew, what are you doing? You got some talent there, Charlie. You got good receivers. It feels like you've got a good running back. It feels like you got an okay defense, but the quarterback play has been so dramatically bad from 2 Pac-12 guys, Gardner Minshew and Jake Luton.
Who's the Pac-12 quarterback that's available?
I mean, what's next? So you're gonna have the number 2 pick, right? So is that where Justin Fields ends up?
You got to take Justin Fields,
right?
It's Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields in this draft,
and then you turn it all over. And they're gonna have a new coach. Maybe that's where Eric Bieniemy ends up.
How about Indiana though, too? Down 28-7 at half and coming back, making life hard on Justin Fields in that first half.
Penix. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the college game. I think Penix is terrific. Like, I like Indiana so much. Is this 2020? I'm watching Indiana threaten Ohio State. What the hell is going on in the year 2020? I'm watching Indiana threaten Ohio State. Rutgers damn near beat Michigan. Liberty's ranked. Marshall's ranked. What am I watching in this world? That's what I'm watching in this world. Northwestern beats Wisconsin.
Ooh,
that's exactly what I'm watching.
Wisconsin stuck in the mud. Do you see Joey Galloway?
Yeah.
ESPN college football commentator. He called Northwestern the Fighting Reese Davises last week. And they were all in on that. Northwestern used it. They put out a hype video, shots from practice, all their players running around like, look, there's Reese Davis number 1, Reese Davis number 2. And they put on a defensive showcase on Saturday.
Yeah, he's got a nice club. I think he's a hell of a coach, by the way. I really do. And they're in line to win the Big Ten West. The Big Ten West is really interesting. Minnesota's so down. Nebraska's so down. Michigan State is so down. And so there's Wisconsin, who's okay. Northwestern seems like they're decent. I don't know what Iowa is. But you look at the Big Ten West, you're like, okay. And so Ohio State's going to beat up on who on Championship Saturday?
Yeah, because it's been so heavy the other way when we've thought about Penn State. And, yeah, Michigan hasn't beaten Ohio State, but they've been a 9-10 win team the last few seasons. And it's been Wisconsin running the other division the last few years. And that was a huge game for Northwestern because I really liked Wisconsin. I thought their freshman quarterback was giving them a different dynamic this season. And 7 points, man. That was a great defensive performance for Northwestern.
Grady sent me an email. It says, ugh, that hurt. Holiday week broadcasters of the OD and the AM. Man, I haven't seen a red team get their arse kicked like that since November 3rd. Biggest difference being the leader of this team acknowledged that butt kicking and is taking responsibility. JJ, that's Jayjeigh, and I have said in the past, styles make fights. The Lobos are undersized up front defensively, and when you're undersized, you can't stuff the run. And if you can't stuff the run, you can't stop the drive. And if you can't stop the drive, it's going to be a long night versus the triple option. The vaunted 3-3-5 can double as smoke and mirrors when you don't quite have the personnel you need. Coach Long can scheme and blitz and trick opposing quarterbacks and linemen just enough so his defense can make a few big plays, which they have done, it seems, more than last season. I'm in the camp that can't wait to see what it can do once we of the season, have had a year to learn it and positions are filled with players that fit naturally. Offense had a bad night. Down weeks are going to happen. It looked to me like they were dragging a bit out of gas. The best thing about that game was when Petros Papadakis shouted out the Manzano Monarchs after Andrew Erickson made a nice catch. Let's hope the team has a short memory to go with a short week. It wasn't any consolation that my Arizona Wildcats took an even bigger L against UW. I have far less confidence in Coach Sumlin than I do in Gonzalez, despite his ASBU ties. Ugh, that hurts. Getting back to, after a painful college football weekend, Grady and Santa Fe by way of Manzano High School. So he's hurting after that loss. But I think he, like most people, see the positives. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
it's a really think about it. Just once we figured out football was happening, what the schedule was going to look like. Realistically, did anyone think 4 games into the season you'd be at a point where you're hurting because of a loss? Like, the belief rose. Like, it crept into people's mind. It was in my mind that, hey, this could be the streak breaker. Like, that tells you that this team is different, is playing different, to get you to a level of belief that on the road at Air Force, which now they've lost the last 9 games at Air Force. That has not been a pleasant place for the Lobos to play in quite a long time. That at least you went into the game with that belief. Now, Air Force went out there and reminded you that, yeah, there was a reason they were favorites in that game, and the number actually kept going up because they can execute and run that triple option still very well, regardless of who's back there.
All right, 2 lines open. We'll get through them when we come back. 505-246-0610 if you want to get in. You got some time on your opening drive on a Monday morning on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, they're going to score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
The outside of running an out route.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss it. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he could spin that
Touchdown.
football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the wind in his back, but
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Cowboys 31, Vikings 28. Better catch in that game. One-handed grab, back corner of the end zone, Adam Thielen. One-handed spin around adjustment catch by CeeDee Lamb. It was two. All right, which one was a better catch?
I like Adam Thielen, given the fact he had to control it and toe tap. Like, CeeDee Lamb's body control was outrageous, but he also was able to land with the football on his chest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Micah, you're a Cowboy fan, so you're going with CeeDee Lamb, right? Of course you are.
No, I'd go with Thielen. I mean, Lamb's was amazing, that body control, but Thielen's just kind of with the extra toe tap, make sure you get in. That was better. I'll admit.
All right, Hoser. Good morning. Who won? Cowboys won. Cowboys won. 31-28. Hey-o. Hello, Josue.
Was one, and what a great song that was discovered by Omar. Is Omar the one that sent you the email? Is that correct?
Of course. He said we better be hearing a lot of this.
Man, yes, I'm ready, man. You put that, record that thing, put it in the files, Micah, and get ready, because I like it's on the same mantra as the Ramit song, right? It's all that 70s groove. You got that bass line, doom doom doom, and then you got the waka 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 coming in. Oh, crazy, man! I mean, that's good stuff. I can't wait to show my kids tonight when I get home from work. I'm
Don't
like,
do
hey,
that to them.
yeah, and we're gonna be jamming, man. Get out the high shoes, the bell bottoms, the big. I mean, look at I don't know if you've seen it on YouTube, but it's got the classic, cowboy logo there. The old helmet kind of reminds me of the helmet I used to wear when I was a kid, man. Remember I told you that story? I put it on. I see my shadow. Oh, it was great times, boys. I love it. Love it. Everything is good when your team wins.
Oh, that's the truth. And it hasn't been very good lately, has it?
No, it has not. So I was glad to see them pull one out there. And we're in the playoff hunt, seems like.
Boom, boom, waka waka boom, boom, waka 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 boom, boom, waka 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 boom, boom, waka waka waka.
There you go. You feeling it?
All right, man. Enjoy the week.
Later.
See you.
I love the breakdown of the song there.
Boom, boom, waka 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 boom, boom, waka waka. All right, Lance. Good morning. How are you, Lance? Broncos win.
What did I ever do to you to put me on hold behind that song? You know, that was worse than being on hold behind Edward.
Do you want to know the answer to that?
No, I can pretty much figure it out myself. Do you remember the old Houston Oilers song too, Jeff?
Houston Oilers, waka waka waka, Houston Oilers, Houston Oilers, number one. Then the Dolphins stole it too and used the same thing. Miami Dolphins, yeah.
But anywho, Edward, he really went on a limb picking my card team Denver 3 weeks in a row to lose. Come on, man, pick a hard game. But they burned him. They ended up winning anyway. But see, he's fixing to go through what I went through most of my life living in Denver, as a kid. They'll win enough games to screw up their draft choice because Belichick's just not going to roll over and play dead. He's going to compete to the very end. So you'll never get any better. It's just you're always going to be like a 7 and 9 or team like that. So he's going to go through a rough spell. But I talked to him about that, too, this morning on the phone. Anyway, Deshaun, I feel for you, man. I don't want to see sports animals suffer. I mean, I'll root against some teams, but that hurts, man, to hear you like that. And try not to drink too much. Have a good, day, guys.
See you. I've never rooted for the Jets so much. I don't think ever in my life. I was so in on that game. And by the way, early on, right before Joe Flacco, right, they get they're going in, the Chargers going in, they fumble the ball. I'm like,
Chargers can't punt, by the way. They're terrible at that.
And then Joe Flacco throws the easiest pick six in the history of pick sixes. And I'm like, what are we doing?
It would have been the only moment, Jeff. If the Jets would have won that game, the only thing that could have possibly eclipsed the butt fumble. Given the fact it would have led to a Joe Namath lower back tattoo.
I mean, I was rooting for that so hard. Joe Namath on Josh's back. And Josh, you'd have got all the chicks, if you ever needed to do that, now that you're married. But the chicks would do. Who wouldn't dig up?
Go to the bar, send out the vibe.
Hey, baby.
Maybe you ever see Joe Namath drunk?
As a tramp stamp?
Check this out.
All right, Mike just sent me this. NFL players next year coming back from torn ACLs. Damn. Joe Burrow, Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Bosa, Tariq Cohen, Devin Bush, Cortland Sutton, Taylor Lewin, and Bruce Irvin, and counting. Damn. We haven't even gotten into how that offensive line and what they've done to poor Joe Burrow. Good stuff today. Great work by the ProView staff, Josh and Jay Pohl on that side, Mike on the radio side. Appreciate you guys. Danny Gonzalez was with us today. Thanks to him. Paul Weir's going to be with us 7:30 on Wednesday morning. We'll talk to the Lobo basketball coach. Jim Rome Show is next, and Patrick Show follows that. Sports Bar this afternoon at 3. And then, I don't know, Jay, you want to come back with more award-winning radio tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.?
Double thumbs up.
Don't forget, we got Monday Night Football for you. 5:30, Rams and Tampa Bay. It's a pretty good one. All right, go out and enjoy the day, boys and girls. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
There's no place like
second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, playing it!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery,